What is going on, everybody? I am out doing a little camera retrieval and some additional scouting this morning, and one interesting thing about coming out here to this area is that what I just found out is that they burned all this year, just about a quarter mile up the road. During season they burned some of this, and because it's still smoldering and everything is black and burned up, so put a mark on the Onyx that this place has been burned. So it kind of makes me want to scout it even more. I'm not sure if this is going to be thick enough, but oh, somebody's coming. Well, that's a good sign so far. Little track right there. I'm not really sure where this thing is going though. Somewhere in this sea of trash. Well, it looks like deer are certainly using this thicket right here. I mean, this is a 9-10 foot tall sea of yopon, scrub oaks, little scrub post oaks, little pines, mostly yopon though. But there's definitely trails in here. Tons of doe trails on this, doe tracks on this trail right here, and I'm not even 30 yards off the main trail. So it's so thick in here. If it's thick in here now, you can imagine what it's going to be like come early season. There's some more little short oak brush. Hasn't rained in a while, but you can see these little remnants of old tracks. There's some doe tracks right there. So this could be maybe a little camera spot to tuck one away up here and see what we can find. But you can see how it's all burned out underneath here. So we'll have to come back here next fall and see how this grows in, see how it reacts. Sometimes it doesn't come back as thick as you think it does. Pretty cool. There is a lot of tracks in here. I thought that was hog tracks for a minute, but I saw this one. This one right here. That's definitely a nice buck track. Yeah. Not too bad for only being here for 20 minutes. So I think my GoPro finally went dead. I have never found this many tracks. Every time I turn this freaking camera on, I think a deer blows at me. Look at this, you see this behind me? This is a huge yopon thicket. It's nasty. There's all these little 3 or 4 foot pine saplings in here. I mean, there is tracks on top of tracks. I can't walk 4 or 5 feet. I can't walk, period, without stepping on a track, more than 2 steps. Trails going in here. I'm fixing to walk this trail. I know I'm gonna either jump a deer or I'm gonna find a bunch of deer beds. And there's also a major feed tree right here on the edge of this yopon thicket that is actually so close to the thicket it's dropping into the thicket. And there's a ton of old sign on it, and all these tracks right here, tons of doe tracks. They're gonna be, and this is the only tree like this in the area. Just a huge, just a giant red oak. It's the only one like it. Unbelievable. To tell me postseason scouting isn't worth it. If you got your honey holes, that's fine, but I mean, this has been a long time since I found something this good. This is literally probably top spot now. Unbelievable buck tracks everywhere, doe tracks everywhere, trails just ripping it up. And this is the kind of stuff that they're in right now. So I gotta keep going. I'm freaking out. I mean, right up in there is where we're going. So I'm walking out of here, and I finally got to a spot where I found a couple of beds. There's a little bed right there. You can tell how that grass is kind of pushed back. Just on a little high spot right here. The trail is out in front, and then there's another trail on this side going out. And then when you come over here, can't really see it right there. There's another bed. Basically right there, just to the right of those little saplings. Right in there. It's another little bed. And the trails are wrapping around right here. And there's just trails coming out. Tracks everywhere. I'm not finding a ton of rubs in here. Only a few. But this is definitely a major doe bedding area. And little buck tracks. I've seen some little buck tracks in here, so just herd bedding nonetheless. But if you find this kind of stuff, you get downwind, hunt your way in, whatever it takes. I mean, look, there's everywhere there's a little mud puddle, there's tracks everywhere. And they're just laid up in here, not in one specific spot everywhere, but this is definitely where they're laying up. So I am definitely in the bedding area. And this is kind of a long point, several hundred yards, but if you zoom back on the map, you can kind of see it. To my left is where I filmed with you guys a minute ago. It's mostly Yopon thicket, and now it's actually passable. You get more sunlight down. And now I'm walking back down the hill, right down the transition from this to like 7-year pines. They're all about 4 or 5 inches wide and a little thicker, kind of like they were at that other little thicket. There's like that thicket, the Yopon thicket, and another thicket. And I'm following this trail straight out of here. I actually think the reason I saw all those tracks down there, a lot of them were headed south. I came in on the north side. I think I may have kind of wind bumped this area out because I didn't know what it was going to look like. And as soon as I started, I think it was good, I hopped out and tried to go downwind and come up into it just so I could really hear a deer, see a deer. But I think I just blew this area out, which is fine. There's old scat in here. I mean, just major trails and tracks like you wouldn't believe. I mean, just crazy. But this is super thick to my right, where it gets thick in these pines, almost too thick to walk. So, but right here where it meets this Yopon, there's a trail going down here, and I can walk in and see where it branches off. You know, when you come in and set up, maybe you set up on those initial branches that are close to the end. Right here is the main trail, and when it starts to feather out, you know, is when they're going to try to break and, you know, go off to their feet and stuff like that. You can kind of hunt their way in because you're not getting in here without them seeing you or hearing you. And there you go. Now I'm on the west side of the bedding thicket, walking it back north. So I walked the east side, I walked up the middle, and now I'm walking the west side. Look at that rub. Look how high that is. All the way down. circling this thicket. So just for an example, that's the thicket that I've been tromping around in. Walked the outside, kind of walked it up the middle, and then came up this side. Walked over here, found the head of what I call a wide trail. I walked up it one way, and now I'm going back down it. I mean, look at this, how it winds through here. You cannot see this in the summer or during season. And right there, it's a real nice rub, considering. We're right on the edge of this thicket right here. So now we have a light thicket right here, heavy thicket, kind of thin pines, and you've got this path that just looks like the freaking golden road lit up right here. So still waiting to find that first shed, but I mean, this path is just, it looks like it's highlighted. Look how well you can see that. That is awesome. So I'm walking along this bottom, and I noticed something out in front of me. That right there is something you do not find very often. That is a honey locust pod. You hear people talk about them, you don't hear much about them down here. That could be why deer are in this area right now this late, because there is a honey locust grove right here. There's probably 10 trees scattered around through here. I don't see a ton of pods on the ground, but this is definitely a little grove of honey locusts. And there's some behind me. And this is about as cool and as good as it gets for a late season area. You do not find honey locusts very often out here. Man, that is awesome. Honey locusts, there you go. If you learned one thing today, that's a honey locust pod. And honey locust, I actually stepped on a thorn a minute ago and it went through my shoe. So, walking these trails out, man, I freaking love it. I'm telling you, I love it. So, I was walking some of these trails, coming to the honey locust grove. Walked over here. There's a big old pile of scat. And then right back here, ow! I see fresh poop and a deer bed. I can get over there. Man, let me go back around. Tons of poop. Looks like probably a bed right here. More poop. Trails I circled around. Here's a trail coming right here. Trail coming right out of here. More poop. Oh my gosh, dude. Poop. Poop, poop. Right here looks like a kind of a small bedding. And check this out. Look at that. I'll probably bump this deer out of here. Yep. Whew. That stinks. That is fresh, son. These deer are here right now. Yeah, I just picked up fresh poop and smelled it, so. There you go. That's a pretty big poop. Kind of looks like buck poop. Man. I just keep thinking I should be finding sheds right now. Well, I said I felt like I was going to find some sheds today. Didn't find a shed, but next closest thing. That is definitely from a little buck some time ago. Ain't no telling how long that's been down here, but you can see the back of the vertebrae start right there. Definitely antlers. There you go. Look at that. Oh, that's browsed off. Becoming my new favorite spot, for sure. I'm telling you, I bumped these deer out of this area this morning. I came in from the north side and front blew in today, and I think I circled around too late. This is absolutely best case scenario for a late season spot. Huge oak right here, bunch of oaks down here. Deer are using this area all year. That's the thing about this part of Texas. And when you find the best thickets, they're the best all year. There's no better. They'll drift, but you go to these money thickets and they never let you down. And this is a money thicket. Unreal. Man, it gets me fired up. Deer season's so far away. Man, I'm gonna be looking at this spot so hard next year. Good buck sign. It's just freaking me out. Let's go. Well, I finally got out of there. Just circled, looped my way back through and kind of confirmed some stuff and didn't see a whole lot, but it's kind of a unique area, so I got a little hesitant, but didn't find anything major. But unbelievable. Locust trees, a thicket, a hot thicket, and granted it's right now, but these thickets that are good, they're good all year, like I said, because they're just unique in this big monotonous sea of pines. And not all thickets that look good are good, but it just takes a lot of work to find these thickets that are. And we just lucked out today. Just huge tracks, massive sign, was on tracks all day, bumping deer. I never actually saw them, but I know I was bumping deer out of there. Found that fresh poop. It reeked. It was fresh off the butthole. And I checked it. But I know some people don't put a whole lot of stock into postseason scouting, but man, that next best place can always be, and a lot of times it's a letdown, but you just don't know until you get out there and see how the forest is changing, see what kind of work they're doing and things like that. Awesome. Loved it. Man, everything you could possibly want. So I hope you guys picked up something, learned a little something. I know I did. I found some stuff that I have not even seen or found in a long time, so certainly worth it. Gonna get on the road. Hope you guys have a blessed day. I made a little short. I've been throwing out a YouTube short every once in a while. I wanted kind of like when I'm in the moment on some of these scouting trips. So hope y'all are cool with that and you like that to some degree and you learned something, because I try to throw it out there when it's fresh on my mind. So have a blessed day, a blessed week, and we will see you on the next video.